to Relentless Phoenix Podcast on another amazing episode. This is your host, Yahne, aka Yaya, your mom, your life coach, your inspirational speaker, but most importantly, you're human. Set out on this journey with you to discover our purpose and identity to fulfilling our destiny. So let's delve on deep into the next topic I would like to talk about, and that's emotional resilience. A lot of individuals have an idea of what emotional resilience is, but really don't know what it takes to embody having resilience to manifest your purpose in this world. In order to understand in detail what emotional resilience is, I would like to give you my definition of what emotional resilience is in hopes that it resonates with you guys. And like I always say, if it doesn't resonate, may God continue to bless you. So, my definition of what emotional resilience is the ability to adapt and cope to life's stressful and rather unexpected situations or adversities by having the ability to center yourself to respond in a healthy way to life's stressful events or circumstances. We all need it. And if you have been following me, you understand that I had to build a lot of my resilience because I've been through a lot in my life and I had to keep moving forward. And resilience was definitely one of the things that I really, like I said, really have to build in order to be successful in life and not give up. Resilience is very important in life. Also grace and forgiveness, which I'm going to talk about later on in another episode. But in order to even get up in the morning to move ahead in life, especially when you have a lot of circumstances in your way, and especially if it's hitting you at one time, resilience, building up that emotional resilience is the most important thing you can ever do for yourself and for others, because a lack of resilience causes a lot of mental health issues, and no one wants to be on the wrong side of someone depressed or filled with anxiety or feel trapped. So definitely I want to speak about the ways in which I use emotional resilience in my daily life in order to keep moving forward. And I hope that you can choose at least one or two of these that I'm going to be speaking about today in order to use them right now as a tool or resource for you in order to gain control in this crazy world here called life. All right. And the first one, let's dive right into it. Numero uno. The first one is having a non-judgmental mind state. So we all have to realize that we can't take this world so serious. And in order to move about this world, we can't, how should I say, we can't hold ourselves on a higher pedestal, and we can't hold others on a higher pedestal, because once we put them or I or us in general on this higher up than what we are, what we do, we're asking a lot of someone. And that's exactly what goes on. Then we find out later on that they're human, and then you start getting disappointed. Or you put a lot into yourself and really feel like you can be at 10 when you need to start working your way up to that number. And maybe you're at 5 and you got to get to 6, 7, 8, then you got to get to 9 and 10. But we have an ability to judge. And what resilience comes into play is that we can't think about those moments. We can't be distracted on what we see. We have to see the information for what it is, do our best judgment on what we see, and keep moving on. So having a non-judgmental attitude definitely helps to reprogram our minds to understand that everything we're seeing is just what we're seeing. We have to take it, we have to adapt with it, and we have to move on. And we can't stay in being entitled of what we see when it's not something that we want to see. We do have this complex where we want what we want and we want it how we want it. And non-judgmental is, hey, life happens, things is going to get in the way. But when I have a non-judgmental attitude, I'm seeing it for what it is. And I'm not going to judge the situation. I'm going to take the information. I'm going to run with it the best way I know how to. And we need that, especially when it comes to, like I said, life, because life is going to happen 1,001 times. And there's no reason to fuss with life or try to go against life, because you will lose. You will definitely lose trying to go against something that is already in motion, that cannot change. So in order to work with it, that helps you grow, especially not with only resilience, but within yourself as well, is because you're taking information down and you're utilizing the best way you're doing. You're trying to digest it, and then you come up with some resolution in order to manage that situation. And you're not trying to go against it, saying, I want it this way. Well, it didn't happen. Now what's the next step? Or you can continue pouting that you didn't get it the way you wanted to get it. I hope not. And just take the information that you have and keep going forward. Number 2 is mindfulness. Having a sense of awareness within yourself and with around others as well. So, like I said before, we put humans on a higher pedestal, but we have to understand that they're humans. It's an oxymoron to feel like humans are perfect. There's no such thing as that. Humans are not perfect. It's counterintuitive to feel that way, and then we wonder why we get so disappointed in others when they don't turn out the way we envision them to turn out because we had a certain perspective. Also, mindfulness and how and us as well, and how much we give too much to ourselves and without being measurable. We put ourselves up high. We don't catch our thought processes, or we don't catch the things that we do. So being very mindful of the world and you, and how you're interacting in the world and how the world is interacting with you, is important with emotional resilience. And we definitely need that in our day-to-day, because when life changes, we have to understand how we're responding to it to make sure we're doing the best thing, the best decision, making the best decision possible in order to promote a healthy environment and space, not only for you, but for others as well. And number 3 is emotion regulation. That should speak for itself. How you, once you perceive the information and you digest it, how are you going to respond? That speaks for itself. How are you regulating your emotions? What are you perceiving when you see the situation? How are you adapting? How is your comfort level in this situation? Your adaptability in the situation, emotionally. We can, on the outside, we can definitely look calm, but emotionally, we probably going crazy inside with jitteries, anxiety. We might not show it. We might not show that we have anxiety or whatever, but how you interpret your environment is very important. Because if you interpret a certain way that's going to be more chaotic and dig yourself in a bigger hole, then how are you going to dig yourself out? You're going to get yourself sabotaging yourself because you're leaning into emotions that may be appropriate, but may not been actionable in that setting. So if you get fired at your job, the best thing to do because you're angry, the best thing not to do because you're angry, is punch your boss in the face. Now you got a lawsuit on your hands because you insulted your boss because he fired you. Now, are you upset? Can you be upset that happened? Sure. You might curse, so you might go off on your boss. Okay, understandable. You're hurt. You're in pain. You are frustrated. You're confused, and upset, and you're appalled, or whatever the feeling is, and sad, and just mad. All right, that's your emotion. But how are you going to regulate your emotion in that moment? Are you going to lash out and lean into all that negativity, or are you going to be resilient? Look at the situation, try to process the situation, and try to move forward with the information that you have the best way possible. And that's what emotional regulation is all about. The next one, positive coping mechanisms or strategies. Well, this is another one that is very self-explanatory. You only have 2 options. Either you're going to be your best friend or your worst enemy. And if you're going to be your worst enemy, then you're going to fall in a lot of negative spiral that's not going to be beneficial to anyone. Positive coping mechanisms or strategies are definitely the best bet, because not only does it help you foster a calmness within yourself, but you are calling for your community to be a supportive system around you. And if you have a great support system, it's no brainer why that wouldn't help you. I'm not saying you have to call emergency hotline because you feel depressed and suicidal. What I'm saying is you might got a trusted friend, or you might got a support group in poetry if you like poetry, or support group in AAA or whatever have you to support you mentally. So having a positive coping mechanism is important to resilience, because when you have something like a parent dying, that takes a lot to pick yourself up, especially if you're close to that individual. I had a lot of death in my family from family members that I was close with. Close with. I lost it when my uncle passed away. I almost lost it when my great grandma passed away. They was close to me, and I'm sure others can empathize with that as well. And sometimes we make choices in those moments where it gets dark and we go down that wrong way. And we need to go down the right way. And the right way is to have those positive coping mechanisms or strategies in place for when something like that happens. So you pick up the phone call real quick. Hey, you're my support buddy. I need to talk right now because something is going on. Hey, I got to come to this meeting because, my mom just passed away and I don't know how to cope. And now, the alcohol is looking really good right now to get away this darkness. So having positive coping mechanism is very, very, very important, and it goes hand in hand with emotional resilience. The next one is flexibility or adaptability. Now, we can go against what life has brought to our attention or brought around us. We can definitely do that. And hey, it might work out for someone. However, I like to argue that it don't. I believe that, especially in my life, I had to be flexible 110%. Most times it brought about a lot of anxiety and paranoia because I felt that my life was so hectic that I was looking up to see if when the next shoe was going to drop. And it caused me to be on edge a lot because I kept being flexible with what was going on. I kept molding myself to fit the situation that I was in order to survive. Mentally survival, emotional survival. Like I said, I was being sexually abused. That survival. So I had to be flexible, but it was definitely draining on me. But it's important that we be flexible or adaptable in any given situation, because you don't want to be on the wrong end of giving up in the face of some type of adversity that you're going through, or a blah, can't speak. Sorry, guys. Stressful situation. You don't want to be on the wrong side of a stressful situation or a crisis, because it won't end well for you. The first thing that's going to happen is how you perceive the world. Mentally, you're going to start doing things and thinking a certain way, and then it's going to start being actionable, and it may not be measurable. You may do things that are going to be self-sabotaging. So being flexible and adaptable to what's going on is definitely a benefit. Definitely a benefit. And you will want that 100% in anything that you do, because that's how life works. Life don't say, hey guys, I'm about to I'm about to put a flat tire in your car. Hey guys, there's about to be a car accident, or hey guys, you're about to get fired. We just want to let you know that beforehand. That's not life. We would like to do that so we can be proactive, but that's not life. So life happens. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Life happens, and we have to be adaptable and flexible so we can maintain a healthy and positive environment. The next one is a strong relationship with your inner self. We can definitely be distracted with a lot of things that's going on the outside. And when we're inside of a tornado, we really can't see on the outside of us that everything can be sunshines and rainbows, because we're in that tornado, we're in that storm. We don't know that the opposite of that storm is all pretty with sunshines and everything like that. We don't know that. So having a strong relationship with your inner self, that is what's going to keep you going throughout anything. You can have a positive coping mechanism in place. You can have your emotional regulation in place. You can have all that. You can say you can have all that in place. But if you don't have a strong relationship with yourself, none of that was be able to take place, is what I'm trying to say. So you can't be emotionally regulated if you're not self-aware. And you can't be self-aware if you don't know what that looks like. So having a strong relationship with yourself, meaning knowing yourself 100%. Yes, I would like to argue that we change every minute, especially with all the influences that's around us in our environment. We change every second, every minute, every hour. Our perception of how this world works changes based on our experiences. Granted, I understand that. But every time we change, we can be aware of that change. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes it just hit us when a disaster happens. And we're like, whoa, I didn't know I was going to respond like that. That's totally okay. But I'm talking about the everyday and day change. I'm sure you know yourself at least 80-20%, 80 to 20%, well, 80 good, 20 bad, that you know yourself when it comes down to what choices you're going to make. So having a strong relationship, in a spiritually strong relationship as well, definitely be more of a blessing than a hindrance on your life. Definitely, especially when it comes to emotional resilience. The spiritual relationship of just having the freedom to be one with yourself, one with others, just having the ability to tune in to yourself. Tune into yourself to understand how you are what your position is in this world. That's what I'm referring to. So you can have emotional resilience when it comes down to, okay, life is happening, how I'm going to respond to life, but knowing that you are purposeful in this life, knowing your identity in this life, having a strong foundation, that is the ultimate thing. I should put that as number one to say that's the most important thing to have, because without it, everything that I just mentioned prior won't matter if you don't believe you can get through it. If you don't believe who you are. It doesn't matter if you have a strong coping mechanism. If you have abused alcohol in the past and you have a strong situation that's very stressful that happened, if you don't believe that you can make it by picking up that phone call, and you believe that the kissing the lips of that body would be more important, or that you rather lean into that more than leaning into your positive coping mechanisms, then that's an issue. It's an issue. So believing that you can do it by having things in place that can help you at those times of need are very important. And it's not about spirituality far as religion or anything like that. It's being tuned into you. Tuning into you is what I'm referring to as being your spirituality. Because we have a spirit, we have a spiritual being. We have this spirit inside of us. All right. A house can't be a house unless we live inside of it. So there's something inside of us that's making this clay move. And we have to tune into that, because that's more important than everything that's on the outside of us. And we have to tune into that. And in order to do that, we have to become one. We have to meditate. We have to do a lot of things that makes us happy to bring out our best self. So we know, looking back, that we can do it all. I can do all things, through Christ who strengthens me, right? Well, you're part of that. I can do it. I can do all things. Let's start with that first part first. I can do all things, not some things, not a few things. I'm going to tune into myself, and I can do all things. Very, very important. And then the last thing, which I'm sure in my episodes already, you have seen a little bit of this trickle out, but I am a total goofball. And that is the last thing I want to say, to emotional resilience. You can't take life so serious. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of hummus. You do, because it gives a soft cushion to the blows in life. You're like, here's another one, you know, Lord, again. I gotta get this devil, this demon off my back again. All right, bring it on. You know what I mean? We have to give ourselves that grace. We have to give ourselves the ability to laugh. Like, oh my God, another flat tire. I am definitely that individual with the flat tires. I get a lot of flat tires. I don't know what it is. But I get a lot of flat tires. And you see how I'm laughing about it is not funny in the moment. Especially when you have to go somewhere and you're like, oh my God. However, I have so many of them. It's like another one. okay, what do I have to do? I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, a flat tire, or I'm late for work, or I'm gonna get fired and this and that. Oh my gosh. I'm leaning into inadequacy at that moment. I'm leaning into so much negativity that I can't focus on, okay, flat tire, where's the closest tire shop? Where is this? Where is that? Maybe I can make it if I get there on time. I'm not so full in my head of anger and frustration that is happening. Life is going to happen. Life is going to happen. So when are you going to give yourself a break to be okay with life happening? You can't twist life arm and say you ain't going to do this again. Life gonna smack you in the face if that ever happens. They get the last laugh. So when are you gonna give yourself a break? When are you gonna be okay with saying, all right, this is another thing that's happening? And sometimes we can't say that. I know. Like I said, when something's bad and stressful, we can't say, all right, this is another thing. However, we cannot fill ourselves up with so much negativity, so much inadequacy that we don't give ourselves the room to laugh about things. And not laugh like ha ha ha, been over, but just like, oh Lord, all right, life is doing it again. Life is doing it again. And I'm going to beat life in the head. I mean, we gotta make it, we have to make life, we have to joke about things. We can't take it so serious. We can't. And this is speaking from a girl who's been through a lot of stuff. I'm telling y'all, it's speaking from a girl who's been through a lot of stuff. And it got a certain point, I'm like, oh my God, again, something else. What else is going to happen? What else is going to happen? And then I started saying, what can get better than this? That's what I started saying to myself. What can get better than this? I started really having a full sense of humor, like just playing with everything I was going through. What can get better than this? And you know something? Because we're so spiritually bound, we are, and when we have the energy, when we speak stuff out, it comes back to us. And I have to be careful what I've been saying. And at first I'm like, what can get worse than this? And then worse happens. So now I'm like, what can get better than this? Like oh my God, 2 flat tires, what can get better than this? You know what I mean? And then things happen in your life. The universe, oh, you want something better than 2 flat tires? All right, well, I'm gonna give you something else that's better than this, having 2 flat tires in a positive way, And we have to do that. We have to do that for ourselves. We can't take life so serious. We can't. I'm not saying we have to laugh 1,000 chuckles. All I'm saying is give yourself grace and room to be in the comfort of knowing life is happening. It might sound scary, like, man, I got this surgery. How can I make positive light out of this surgery? I'm not saying make a positive light out of it, because that is very serious. But what I'm saying is you can do all things. What I'm saying is, all right, find ways to bring joy to your life while you're going through it. The situation is sad, but bring joy to your life while you're going through it. What do you love? What can you manage in your own environment to bring your happiness out? That's what I mean about not taking life so serious, because I had surgeries. When I had both my kids, I had emergency C-section. That was some serious stuff. And I can definitely go into that as a parent, and one of my videos. Let me know if y'all interested, in the comments. I can definitely speak about that whole thing and how dark that was, but I had to make light of it. I had to make light of it because it would have took me into a lot of dark places that I don't want to go. I've been in that realm of darkness. I had to make light of my situations because I don't want to go there no more. And I'm sure others listening knows exactly what I'm talking about. So having my sense of humor, even right now, I can't do nothing about it because I'm so in tune with, hey, make a joke about it, bring light to it, do something that won't put yourself in that dark place, because life can happen. It can happen 1,001 times. It can happen 1,001 times in one moment. But you owe it to yourself not to fill your void and your inadequacy with negative thinking. You owe it to yourself. Positivity, 100%. You don't got to be a funny thing, but you want to be in a realm of positivity. Make a light of what's going on. Not saying, hey, surgery is funny. No, but make light of whatever it is. You like to read during that moment after surgery? Read. poetry, watch a comedy show. Bring light to it. Not light up the situation itself, but bring light to what you're going through so you can deal with the situation. If that makes any sense. I could be long-winded, guys, but that is it for me for this episode. I hope that you gain something from it. I hope you help it resonate. I hope you can choose one of these or all of these tools that I use in my daily life currently in order to manifest what I want, to get the destiny that I deserve. And I have to put these tips and tricks and tools inside of my own journey in life in order to overcome my adversities. This is how I did it. This is how I always will. And I want y'all to feel the same way, that y'all can do it all. Full stop. All right, my kings and queens. Appreciate y'all. I salute y'all. And may you continue to shine, filled with love, and give yourself that grace and forgiveness that you wish others would give unto you. Peace out, guys.